Let's start with the prompt here. Which choice states the main purpose of the text? And let's start reading. This text is adapted from the 1957 novel. Humphrey Davy was a prominent British chemist and inventor. Years ago, a grave American savant, being in London, observed at an evening party there a certain fellow, as he thought, an absurd ribbon in his lapel, and full of smart banter, whisking about to the admiration of as many as were disposed to admire. Great was the savant's disdain, but, chancing were long to find himself in a corner with the person, got into a conversation with him, when he was somewhat ill prepared for the good sense of the person, but was altogether thrown aback upon subsequently being informed that he was no less than a personage. He was no less a personage than Sir Humphrey Davy. So, a lot going on here, really, really challenging. So, years ago, a grave American savant. Grave is a negative word, like a grave injury, and a savant is a genius, like a piano savant or a chess savant. So, years ago, this negative genius observed at an evening party a certain fellow. So this person who's really smart, he's a savant, he observes this person who has an absurd ribbon in his lapel. So that's some part of his shirt. So he had something really absurd on his shirt. He was full of smart banter. Banter is conversation and joking. So the guy he sees is full of this smart talking. And he was whisking about to the admiration of as many as were disposed to admire. So this person is full of all this smart talk and getting everyone's attention. Great was the savant's disdain. So the genius who's seeing this new guy, it has a lot of disdain for him. He just doesn't like him. But chancing were long to find himself in a corner with the person. So by chance, he found himself in a conversation with that person, got in a conversation with him when he was somewhat ill prepared for the good sense of the person. So he was surprised that the person had some good sense, was altogether thrown aback upon subsequently being informed that he was no less a personage than Sir Humphrey Davy. So he was thrown aback. He was surprised. First of all, he was surprised that the person sort of had good sense and knew what he was talking about, but he was also surprised that the person turned out to be this celebrity, Sir Humphrey Davy, who was a prominent chemist and inventor. So a new guy comes along. The main person, the savant, seems to kind of have a problem with him and is surprised that he knows what he's talking about and that he turned out to be a famous person. So let's look at the answers. The thoughts of a character who's embarrassed about his own behavior. We don't really see embarrassment, although that, in the end of the day, that might be a good second choice here. B, presents an account of a misunderstanding. Yes, the misunderstanding because the person didn't know that this was Sir Humphrey Davy. C, offers a short history of how a person came to be famous. Well, the person was already famous. He didn't come to be famous. And D, explains why one character dislikes another. Well, he disliked him at first until he found out that he was Sir Humphrey Davy. So the misunderstanding is finding out that this was actually someone admirable, someone famous that the savant should have known about. So the answer here is D.